Well, CIS 106 student, you've made it to week 4. So we're going to review a couple things in week 4 you'll see here. So in week 4 we're covering modules 8, 9, and 10. So module 8 is sort of kind of not really directly related to Java programming. So it should be a little bit of a lighter module for you. So in module 8, if you go into this, you can see that you will see information about how the internet works with different protocols, what a network is, what an IP address is, domain names, different protocols such as HTTP, TCP, how does IP and TCP work together, what a packet is. So just some reading about what the internet is and how that works. You'll also see a little bit more information about how networks work with the different theories of layers of networking. Other terms such as bandwidth, bit rate or data rate. So just some information about how the internet functions. So you should read through this. It does not have to be something that you know inside and out, but you should be vaguely familiar with this. So there is an assignment related to this that is, it's a little odd the way it's set up. It's actually kind of neat, I think. So there's an assignment related to this that you make a Java program just to kind of do a check for understanding that you understand some basic concepts of networking. So Module 8 has a Java programming activity where this document will walk you through, step by step, what you are to do. Again, this document uses JGrasp. You can use your own preferred IDE if you don't use JGrasp, but this walks through using JGrasp. You're going to make a new file, and you're going to call it ipnum. And you can see what the code you are to type. You may have to zoom in on this and see if I can do that. So this is the code you are to type. Now notice the course coordinator for this class designed this project so that you're using J-option pane windows. I have not spent a lot of time talking about those, but if you type this exactly as this is, you'll see what this does. It's actually kind of neat. It'll pop up a window like this at the end of your program. It's just an informational window is all it is. You've seen these before, and it's just providing information back to the user. So you've seen these before as an end user, and the information it's going to pull back is an IP address. So what you are to do is to pull back the IP address of your machine. Now, in this example, the IP address is a 10 dot something address. Yours is probably going to be something very different. So you can use this code, and this is actually Java doing this. Notice you have to use this import of inet address to do so. But it'll pull back the IP address of your computer, which is kind of cool. So this is actually your assignment for Module 8. And then you'll see there's a little bit more information about what we're getting into with Module 9. So Module 9 and 10 we're back to Java concepts. So in Module 9 and 10 we're getting to some very, very, very important concepts. Up to this point, what we've been doing with our Java programs is we've been displaying output, we've been doing some stuff with variables, we've been doing some minor calculations, but we really haven't designed a program that does decision making, which is a really crucial step in us learning programming to be a budding Java programming developer. So this is a crucial concept to grasp and understand. So this folder on conditionals and logic talks about essentially what we're going to be designing. We're designing programs that will make decisions for us. It will determine if some value is true, then the program will do something else. So our course coordinator has created some documents that talk about a thing called a logic table. He's done it as a PDF as well as a Word file. This may not make a whole lot of sense yet, but eventually we'll get into this point where we're checking multiple conditions if they're true or false. So just be aware that that is out there. And then you want to look, actually I think I'll probably move that folder down after Module 9, because really the important part here in Module 9 is understanding the idea of a condition. Now He talks about loops in here, which is a little bit early, but the reason why that's introduced is because loops also use conditional decision statements. So what we're going to be starting with is an if statement. So if some expression resolves to true, then we will do, in this case, statement 1. Otherwise, we would do statement 2. So let me find a little bit better example. So here's a very simple example. So here we have a variable called y, which has not been assigned to a value. And we're evaluating to see if x is less than 0. Well, in this case, we don't really know the value of x. So this says that if x is less than 0, and it is assigned the value of 2, then this is going to be false. So it depends on what the value of x is, which we don't know. But let's suppose x is -1. So if the value of x is -1, then this condition, this expression, resolves to be true. So because that's true, we go into the if and we do what's inside here. And what are we going to do? We're going to assign y the value of 1. Well, what do we do if x is not less than 0? What if x is 0 or 1 or 2 or any positive value? Well, if that's the case, then we're going to do the else, because if this is true, we do this. Otherwise, else, we do this. So if that is not true, then y is assigned 2, and then we display the value of y. So read through this information, see what else we got in here. There's a couple pages of information to read through. So this is a good explanation of the if, which is really what we're going to be doing. Notice that you can also nest if statements. You can nest if-else statements. And so you can do all kinds of branching of if-else statements. You can also have another type of if called an if-else, which is really a lot like nesting an if. So in this case, you would compare and see if some expression is true, and if it is, you do this. And if this is not true, then we check to see if this is true, and if it is, we do this. And if that's not true, then we do this. So with an if-else, as well as with an if-else, one and only one of these conditions will be true. I'll say that again. With an if, as well as with an if-else, as well as with an if-else, one and only one of these will be read and evaluated and run. It's either going to be this, or this, or this. One will occur. So just be aware with an if-else, one of your conditions will be true. I mean, the fail-safe option is the else. It's when all else fails. That's kind of how I think of it. When all else fails, do this. So you can nest ifs inside ifs, and this is kind of what this diagram is saying. Check and see if this evaluation is true. And if it is, then you do this. But if it's not, check and see if this is true. And if it is, do this. If it's not, check and see if this is true. If it is, do this. And you can continue to go down for quite a while with programming. Now here they introduce the idea of comparing two expressions. And this is where we get into this logical thing with and or and nots. So here we're combining more than one expression. We're checking to see, hey, if x is less than y, and if also x is less than z. So this thing resolves to true or false, and so does this. So if this is true, and this is also true, then this whole statement, that whole condition, is true. But with an and, this is two ampersands, that's the way you do this in Java. With two ampersands, with an and statement, what's on the left of it has to be true, as well as what's on the right has to be true, to make the whole condition true. If this is false, or this is false, this whole thing is false, because it's an and. It's this and this. They both have to be true for the whole thing to be true. We also have ors, which I don't know if is in here, but we also have or statements in Java, which they do not show here. So an or statement is done with two straight lines. So if I can show you. You can ignore this. So an OR statement would just look like this. Just ignore, just showing an OR statement. So if I had something like if x is less than y, or y is less than z. So that's an OR statement. So what an OR does, it says if this is true or this is true. It's only one. Now this symbol, these two vertical lines, that's an OR symbol. And that is done on your keyboard by using, there's an up and down key. It's on the same key as your backslash. It's right above enter. It's on the same key as your backslash. It's right above enter. And if you hit shift and hit that key, it'll create this vertical line. And you need two, sometimes they're called pipes. Yes, because they look like pipes, I don't know. But they're up and down vertical lines, and you need two of them for an OR. So an OR says, if this is true or this is true, then this whole thing is true. So that's the idea of a logical operator. So the operators of less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, equal to. Notice in Java we have to use two equal signs. One equal sign, we already know one equal sign means assignment. So two equal signs is comparative for equality. And then we have another one called not equal to. These are relational operators. We're using these with these simple compound expressions. How does x relate to y? Is x less than y, or is x greater than y? Is it equal to, not equal to? Is it less than equal to, greater than equal to? How does it compare? How does it relate to what's on the right? Whereas this is a logical operator. The other logical operators are and then there's another one simply called not, which a not operator just inverts the whole thing. If it's true, it becomes false. If it's false, it becomes true. So you can read about these within this week. So this is pretty much the content that you are asked to go through in week 4. And I'll be making some other videos to kind of help you with a little bit more of this. So Module 9 as a Java programming activity, and then Module 10 as a programming exercise, which I'll make videos to explain the details of those. So get a look at week 4, and this video also talks about Module 8 Java programming activity, and then I'll be back for videos for Module 9 and Module 10's Java programming exercise.